You think he did that because he was taking up for academics?
Absolutely, right? I thought that was the point, no?
No, I think the gist of it was, I don't know if, because even like the clip, they was already having a conversation. And I seen Academics break it down. I said, I guess Sharp was getting into it with the people on Clubhouse. And this is one thing that we gotta, and me, myself, and T-Rail
Oh,
included.
I thought it was already because
Wait a minute, me, myself, and T-Rail included. It wasn't until I heard Academics talk about the employee word. Like, why do us as minorities get so mad when we hear the employee word? You know what I mean? And even yesterday, Academics spoke on it.
You did the best job ever of getting mad at that.
I definitely did. Me
with
and T-Rail.
Dejan. That was one of the best things ever.
And shout out to Dejan too, because
Well, he said it in a real derogatory way.
And just believe me, being the boss is fucking overrated. Yes, you do. Like, if you do well, you get to share in more of the profits, whatever. But also, everything comes back to you. If you get sued, if you go bankrupt, it's all you. Trust me. There's plenty of times in my life where I think, damn, I wish I was just more of like an employee and I didn't have to be the person fucking answering for everything at the end of the day.
Shout out to Dejan too, because I apologized to him because I was like, you know what you were saying, like whether I took it that way or not, you weren't lying, bro.
And Academics, even when I was talking to him yesterday, he said, I am an employee of Spotify. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to be an employee at Spotify? Like, they're one of the biggest corporations in the world, and now they are extremely invested in his success. Now, I'm not saying that means that he should stick with them forever, because maybe he just used them to get his podcast going. Maybe he's going to leave in a year or two or whatever. But I mean, I don't see how anybody could look at that and think it's like a bad opportunity.
And even Academics yesterday, he said he likes what I got going on. He says, AD's a boss of community, but he's an employee of No Jumper. He said, you can be both. There's nothing wrong with that shit.
But that's true then. But also what Sharp was trying to say was, I'm an independent contractor. And although
but let's keep it real. Sharp is in the same situation that me and T-Rail was in. We hear that word, we think people are trying to shit on us. You feel me? Like, oh, you an employee, like we getting little pay, or we not getting paid what we supposed. Like, we take that shit negatively, and when people need to embrace it, like, yeah, nigga, being an employee, I'd rather be an employee making six figures than being you feel me?
Exactly. Look, I'm an employee of No Jumper. I'm like literally on the payroll and I'm very proud and happy about it.
And T-Rail has Back on Fig. He's the boss of Back on Fig. I'm the boss of community. We taking all the responsibility.
Yeah. What the fuck?
That was just me coming from.
You're the boss of all the minions, the yellow people that come around and shit. You know what I mean?
But me responding to that was just me coming from already like doing my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm like, I'm a what? And I had to think, and it didn't register yet. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not, bitch. But in the grand scheme of things, like you are, like, you know what I'm saying? And then how Adam broke it down, how Academics broke it down, like I will actually bend over backwards, pause, to work for certain companies, you know what I'm saying, and be their employee to gain certain knowledge from these motherfuckers, you feel me, and to implement it into your everyday life or your business. Like, so why not? You feel me? Like, and like you said, like it did bother me from where we come from, you know, what we endured, you feel me, over the time, motherfuckers trying to shit on us. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like that. And he was one of the motherfuckers that was trying to do that. And you know, I'm giving you a platform, you feel me? Because his platform wasn't as big, and probably, I ain't gonna say never, but it's not as big, you know, and it's not as big right now. We was giving him a shining the light on him. So we're doing him a justice, you feel me? So it just all about how you look at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to educate myself, and you guys had to educate me on like, okay, look at it in a better light, you feel me? Because I didn't come from that shit.
But to be fair, the reason I understand why you guys took offense to the way he said it, because realistically, when you come to No Jumper, like the way that you guys came here, it's like, are you technically employees? Yes. Does it really feel like that much? I mean, for the most part, you guys are just getting on camera and talking, and it's not like we really put too many restrictions on it. And it's like, you know, it's like with you in the interviews, it's been pretty open-ended. It's not really like fucking something where it's like super strict, like T-Rail, you got to do this and not these other things you want to do. So I understood why in that moment it was kind of jarring for you guys, just because you really seemed like you hadn't really thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger point is just that there's nothing shameful about that. Like, imagine Rock Nation hit me up tomorrow or some label or whatever, and they said, yo, Adam, we want to give you $50,000 a month to do this, this, and this. it's not good. You know, like I would be a fool if I didn't consider it.
But they saying working here sway our decisions, and sway my opinion on different things that's happening out here because I am an employee out here, or I'm not responding how they want me to respond because now it's like Master 22 gonna get you or this and that and the other. You feel me? But I'm like,
I'll beat his ass.
Yeah, but I'm like, this nigga really open minded about everything. You know what I'm saying? That's
you might not always believe it on this podcast. Just because I am willing to argue about pretty much anything on the podcast doesn't mean that I'm like, try to control the way you guys move on here or whatever. There's been very few things like that where I was like, you are not allowed to say this thing anymore.
Yeah, I pretty much can say what I want.
I've never been told
me and Josh were talking about that earlier where he was like, listen, even if y'all have a different of opinions to Adam, he still let y'all get on his platform and platform that. We can sit here and say whatever the fuck we want. I can say it's probably been maybe 1 or 2 times you said, hey, you didn't even say don't talk about it. You like try to not go as crazy as you would. But that's like within 3 years, maybe twice you didn't say something like that. And you never told me don't talk about this.
Realistically, Adam, would you want a bunch of people on the pod that like had a hive mind and thought exactly like you and weren't down to debate?
I know other podcasts that I've listened to, like not with any kind of regularity because they usually suck ass, but I've listened to other people's podcasts where it's so obvious to me that the host told the co-host, like, your job is to agree with everything I say and ask maybe some little like follow-up questions, but never question me, never like provide your own narrative. And in a way, I can see why it's kind of good because it does help them stay on point and everything. But at the same time, it's like just not really. It's definitely not what people want from this fucking podcast where they want to see us really engage in like that random fucking argument that we got into earlier about artists or whatever. I mean, I'm sure that the people at home, that's probably going to be like a highlight of the episode. Even though it was like harmless shit where it's like none of us are going to even remember that we fucking argued about that by the end of the day or whatever. It was just music talk.